Cameron Hughes got called up. That's exciting news.
Yeah.
So Cameron will play his first game tonight, I believe, at Detroit. So he sent a text yesterday when he found out. Obviously, Pittsburgh? It is Pittsburgh. Thank you. So it's exciting for us to get another player to get a chance to play in the NHL. He's worked hard. He's had a good start to his pro career at Providence and earned an opportunity to play an NHL game tonight.
I'll continue on that theme. You guys you have to add another jersey to your
Yes,
your
we do,
wall
which is
now.
exciting.
What started that project for you? Why did that become something you wanted to do?
Well, I remember the first time bringing recruits around the building, and some of the parents were saying, who was some of the players that played here, and you're going through your mind, you're going, well, Chelio, Suter, Mellenby, Heatley, and then you're forgetting a lot of players that are pretty significant to who they might know either from their area or whatever. So I said, well, geez, it would be great if that was displayed, and not only for recruits but for our fans to realize, geez, I forgot McDonough played here, I forgot Turris, whatever it is. I think it's a great, it shows off, what some of our players have gone on to do. So I think it was a nice, it looks good in the building. I think they did a great job on the project with the frames and the nameplates, and I've gotten tons of compliments on people that have walked in and seen it for the first time and are really enjoying it.
Brian?
You seeing progress in this club, Tony? 8 games in?
Well, I don't think we played as well as we would have liked to against Penn State. So the progress part comes from, learning from what happened on why we didn't perform as well as we did. And we had that discussion both, while we were in Penn State before we came home, and then also this morning before our first practice since the series. And 2 weeks before that, we played the defending national championship team in the last 2 years, and we played completely different. And we played with a pizzazz to our game and a high energy game. And the Penn State series, we just never got to that level. We were kind of watching a lot. We stood around a lot. We were still in position on Friday night. It was 2-2 pretty late in the game to win it, but the aura and the morale that we had, just 2 weeks before wasn't there for us. And for any team to have success, that spirit and that morale and that feeling and confidence, needs to be there. And Penn State was a heck of a hockey team. They are a heck of a hockey team. They played really well against us. They never allowed us to get going, or at least not for big parts of that series, and it kind of deflated us. But I think the biggest thing for us, and back to your question, are we seeing signs of progress? This is one now going into this weekend where we have to go back and say, okay, we can figure out the difference between Duluth and the difference between Penn State, and turn that into a positive series this weekend. And then if that happens, then this would have been a successful weekend, because Penn State's, what are they, 6th or 8th right now? They're legit, and the team we beat in Duluth is legit. Clarkson's legit. BC's legit. The teams we've played on our schedule so far are good hockey teams, and for us to be successful, we have to play a certain way all the time, and we have to have that confidence going into the series and be consistent in especially especially the way our group looks. And you guys, and you saw that series against Duluth, and at the end of that Saturday game, you're like, holy cow, these guys got to figure it out really fast. So you knew there'd be some hiccups. You knew we couldn't play that perfect, night after night or weekend after weekend, and with our team. But you knew that there was promise there that we could be something special. And now when it doesn't go perfect, now you got to respond and get back to that as fast as you can. And this will be a good weekend for us, because Nebraska Omaha's a good team too.
Todd?
Spent a good amount of time this morning working on net front stuff. Is the offensive net front, the defensive net front, a bigger concern for you right now?
Well, it was both, because I think the game Friday was certainly one at the net front. They had, out of all 6 goals, they were either tips or rebounds. And Daniel had to fight through traffic the whole night. It was pretty hard for him. And our D are good at boxing out and good at covering it and that. So Penn State made a commitment to get there. At the other end, I don't think we did nearly a good enough job in that area. So that was a focus this morning. And lots of games are won on tips and screens and rebounds. And lots of the goals, we're going to score pretty goals. We know that. We got enough talent to do that. But for us to be successful and to win hard buildings, hard games and tight games, those are the goals that you have to pay a price to score on. So that was definitely the message this morning.
Cole said something after Friday night's game about how he didn't think there was enough maybe adjustment happening offensively. Guys maybe kept going back to the same thing that they thought was going to work, and it just didn't evolve. You changed when you played Duluth. You were able to change and play a different game. What did you see that didn't let that happen, or was it just a willingness to make it happen?
I think that we tried to score on the rush. We didn't make enough of a commitment to getting our forecheck game going. And when you try to score on the rush and your play's broken up, guess what? You're feeding right into their offense. And that for sure happened Friday. Saturday was a little better. But I think when the game was 2-2, we were in a position where we really could have taken over by just playing simple and smart and grinding it out. And we weren't able to do that. So I would say that would be the biggest thing Cole's talking about. I think the Duluth series, again, was a series that we established. If we're going to have success, we know how to do it. But doing it consistently, no matter where you're playing, who you're playing, what the score is something that we're going to have to grow into.
Brian?
Do you foresee any changes in your forward lines or anything like that, knowing how things transpired this past weekend?
I don't think so. It might be a couple, minor things. We'll practice with the same lines as the week goes on. I think being a little more flexible like against Penn State, there were points of that series where I was, in my mind, wanting to change lines a lot. I didn't. I stuck with it just because I wanted to grind through it and if it happens again in the future where I feel we're a little flat, we don't have the energy and the jump, there's some lines that we can switch to. The thing that's really nice, again, we got lots of guys that can play center in different positions and, move up and down the lineup. So there is lots of flexibility with that. And now as a coach, I have to start being a little bit more anxious, I think, as soon as I feel or recognize that we're not on, of making those adjustments.
You have a little bit more experience playing an unfamiliar team now after Clarkson. Maybe you thought that may have jumped up and bit you a little bit. Does that help you going into Omaha team? I mean, last time you played them was a couple of years ago. They've got a different coach or a different look. How do you address that and prepare your guys for what you're going to see?
Well, they'll start seeing video tomorrow on it, but I think the most important thing is just recognizing now the thing that any good team has and focuses on are themselves. And I don't want to get away from that. I want us to realize that, like I just said a minute ago, no matter where we play, when we play, no matter what the score is, no matter who you're playing with, I want us to play a certain way. And once we get to that point and we understand there isn't a whole lot of adjusting needed, you need to respect your other opponent. You need to know how they play and what they do. But if you can get to your game by understanding that what you do works, no matter who you're playing or where you're playing, it will be the most important thing that our team will learn. And I think that's the biggest thing. So I don't want to prepare for Omaha, Nebraska. I want us to over-prepare as far as getting ourselves ready to play the way we need to play, no matter where we play or who we play.